Ugh, still need 26 more Charmander candies before I can have a Charizard. Spawn, dang you, spawn! Oh, hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Tekkit. In the last video, we created a beautiful restaurant, which came out of left field, and people seemed surprised. We kind of changed tack really quickly in that episode, but it works, and apparently, based on the comment section, people are calling it McPravus's. So okay, McPravus's it is. Hello, Julio. Hello, Giovanni. I hope you guys are doing well. Down here in the basement, I did take the liberty of creating a fully automated farm for livestock and for all of our vegetation. It is exactly what you've seen before. All the adult cows get placed here. They are bred. The babies are sent over here. They grow up. We grind them down. And the meat is turned into ingots, which I also hooked up with a cyclic assembler so that we can create raw meat nuggets. So there we go. Whole bunch of cooked meat nuggets and cooked meat ingots. Plenty of food for days. I've also automated the vegetation farm directly above us so that everything that is not being sent into the planter is being sent over either into this box with the potatoes and the carrots, or the wheat is being sent to the breeder and anything left over from there is being sent over here. We're also collecting all the poo and sending it into 4 composters, which are then creating the industrial fertilizer and sending those up to the fertilizer plants up there. The only thing I think is not really sustaining in the system is the power, which we are draining a fair bit more than I am producing, but I did certainly try to create enough power. It just doesn't seem to be working quite as much as I was hoping for. These magmatic dynamos don't always seem to work. Sometimes they get stuck and you have to take them out and try putting them back in, and then they start generating power. It gets confusing. Either way, though, it seems like a very promising setup. The only thing I seem to be missing are a bunch of customers. Oi! Giovanni! Julio! Explain! Where are your brethren? Surely they're hungry by now! Well, that's not gonna do at all. I need these people to be hungry. You'll get paid at the end of the week. Shush! Well, despite a complete lack of food, these guys aren't getting hungry fast enough for my tastes. So you know what? We can speed that process up. Hey, look, I got a whole mess of sludge and no idea what to do with it. Well, I might be able to use this to my advantage. See, there's this wonderful thing that we can create. It is called a sludge boiler. It boils away the sludge and gives you, like, clay or something. I don't know. It's mostly just to get rid of the useless byproduct. But it does have a couple of side effects. Namely, it makes people around it incredibly nauseous. They vomit up all their insides, and then they get hungry. So if we strategically build a sludge boiler, set it up in the middle of town, maybe we can get these guys to get hungry a little bit faster. Sludge boiler is not that hard to make. All you need are the plastic sheets, machine frame, iron ingots, reception coil, a couple of furnaces, and a bucket. Which, of course, I already have handy. Grab sludge boiler. Excuse me, guys. Don't mind me. Be sure to check out McPravus's grand opening today. Or something. I don't know. The well should do just fine. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and drill a hole in the side of their well, and we can set up a sludge boiler down there, and the toxic fumes should leak into the water supply and make them all incredibly hungry. Probably, I think that'll work. Oh, I appear to have been discovered. Whoops. Whatever, it's fine. Let's go ahead and place this thing right here, I think. Should do fine. Ugh. It's got grossness, like seeping over the edge. Okay, we need power, of course, which we can arrange. Can I just place it right next to this thing? I think I can. Hang on. A little bit of that, and no. Looks like we do indeed need... Ah! Hey! What are you doing here? What is this, a notebook? For 20 emeralds? Screw you! Oh gosh, dang it, it's turning into a party! No! It's like they figured out what I'm planning on doing! Okay, fine, we'll do it on top of this church thing. And the fumes will have to propagate down into the village. I'm sure it'll work fine. Get a little bit of an output going on there. A couple of hardened conduits, one here, and... we do have enough power. Now we just need portable tank like so, set to an output like so, and then, aha, sludge. Oh, look, even I'm getting hungry. I mean, the side effect, of course, is that not only does it make you hungry, it actually poisons you and starts to slowly kill you, but You know, for now at least, up in the steeple, I don't think it'll kill anybody. I certainly wouldn't want to kill my clientele, but the hunger will do the job. Well, it shouldn't take too long for that to take effect. When's your next religious service? Because that's when they're all going to get really hungry. I mean, they think they're just going to get bored in church and they're just waiting for lunch, but no. No, I'm actually starving them. Julio, Giovanni, get ready. Business will be booming soon enough. As a quick reminder, inside these double doors, management only. Violating employees shall be terminated, and not in terms of your employment contract. See this arm? It actually is very deadly. Don't test me. Side note, I don't think that my customers should probably know that the livestock is directly underneath the farm. They might dig through and try to kill all the animals and get the meat. We should silence those things, and there is a way to do it. You simply go to the chest, grab some wool and a note block, and place a note block here. Surround it with wool like a muffler, and that creates a sound muffler using the extra utilities mod. If we go right down here and place it, I don't know, right here. That, I think, shuts them up. Ah, beautiful, beautiful silence. I can't hear any more cows, and neither can the villagers. They have no idea. Well, while we wait for that sludge-induced famine to take effect, let's go back home. Feels like I haven't been here in ages. And there are some upgrades that I would like to make today. Namely, I would like to jump into the Applied Energistics mod. I feel like that's something we probably should have done a while ago, but haven't, because it's a really, really powerful mod, and does require a bit of resources. It's fairly involved to get into, but it's extremely good, and I do want to use it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and play with Applied Energistics today, and try to revolutionize our storage systems. And crafting, for that matter. Crafting too. Though on a totally unrelated note, one thing I want to address I've seen repeatedly in the comment section, "Oh, Pravus, will you please hide the little search function down here with the golden rims and all this stuff?" No, I like this thing. Why do people keep asking me to turn this thing off? I use the search functions all the time, not for my own inventory, obviously. But if I want to find some sort of a recipe, I use it all the freaking time. I'm not going to turn it off. Are you insane? Unless there's some other gold-rimmed thing going on that I'm not aware of. But I don't think so. So no, the answer is your question is gonna be no. There we go, that looks pretty good. Okay, so Applied Energistics. What is it? Well, yours truly, Lord Pravus himself, has broken the energy to matter conversion equation. You know, think like those like energy matter materializer things. What are they called? I can't remember. From Star Trek, where like you order a cup of coffee and it just takes some energy and turns it directly into matter as desired. Same concept. What we are going to do is, rather than fill chests full of material junk like this, we are going to digitize all of these blocks and store them on a data disk. And then we can deposit and withdraw them at will in vast quantities. To get started, there are a few things we are going to need. First, we are going to need an ME controller. It's a mass energy controller, if you don't know what ME stands for. This is going to be kind of the brain of our entire operation. We're also going to need an ME drive, which will store all of our data disks. Speaking of data disks, we're going to need a few of those as well. ME 1K storage uses up 1,024 bytes, which I'll show you how this works in a little bit. But the larger a storage bank is, the larger the hard drive, effectively, the more stuff we'll be able to store. So we have 1K, then we have 16K, then we have 64K, which is sort of a misnomer, really. It's because of the bizarre multiples of 12 thing. Is it 12? I think it's 12. That goes on with bytes. Instead of actually 64,000 and 65,536 bytes. But I digress. We'll want large ones, but for now, small is probably fine. The way that you make a simple ME 1K storage disk is going to be using redstone plus iron and glass and a storage cell. Storage cells require a basic processor, the Certus quartz that we've been mining and haven't used, plus a bit of redstone. And a basic processor requires fluix dust, redstone golden chipsets, and silicon. Alternatively, I think there's another recipe. There we go, just silicon, gold, and redstone. I think I'd rather just do some of this. But silicon requires smelting the Certus quartz dust that we've been obtaining for a while. So, if you look here, as we've been mining up our quartz, we've been getting whole quartz, and then we've been getting the dust. This is the stuff that we need to be smelting down. I wish that the raw silicon from Galacticraft worked. I don't think it does, although I guess we could test that. But even so. All right, let's see. Is that all that we needed? Yes, I think that's all we needed. All right, let's go ahead and make a few of these. Now, there is one small problem trying to make the ME basic processors using the recipe I was actually planning on going for, and that's because it requires something called an assembly table, which is from the BC Silicon mod, which I don't really know a whole lot about, so I don't think we're going to use it. It requires some sort of special assembly table and powering source. I don't want to get into that right now. So alternatively, we could smelt up a basic processor assembly. Those are made with quartz cutting knives, gold, silicon, and redstone. Very similar in the recipe, but all we need is a quartz cutting knife. How do you make one of those? It takes some Certus quartz or some nether quartz, either one will do just fine, plus some iron and a couple of sticks. Just like so. Now we place you up here, I think it was, plus the silicon down here, plus the gold, plus redstone, and now we have basic processor assemblies. We're going to go ahead and grab a full 32 of those, and then smelt them up. There we go, just like so. Okay, and with those, we want to make the storage cells. Now, that requires, again, the Certus quartz and some redstone. Very easy for us to make. I think I'm only going to make, like, 4 of these for now, because I don't know how many other things I need these processors for, and it's a bit of an involved process to make them, so let's just be a little on the conservative side and not commit too many resources until we know what we're actually doing. All right, there's our storage cells, and in order to make the storage cell housings and stuff that we're looking for, or wait, no, storage cell things, we need the iron, glass, and redstone. But in order to make the higher level ones, we would need a storage block. Now, a storage block requires 3 of those storage segments, which actually is not the same as a storage cell. You know what? They look extremely similar, so I feel kind of had. I thought that that's what they were. Hang on. Storage segments require 3 storage cells each. So I do actually need to make a whole bunch of these if I want to make some 16K storage disks. Do we need those right now, or is that something I can work myself up to? I think that's something we can work ourselves up to. Let's start small and then think big later. And now we have 4 ME 1K storage disks that I can use to hold a great deal of matter. Now we want to work on things like our ME controller. Now that requires some iron, an advanced processor, and Fluix crystals. Advanced processors are an advanced processor assembly smelted, which is diamond, silicon, redstone, and a quartz cutting knife. So instead of gold, we're using diamond. Are there even further advanced? No, I think that's it. So that's easy enough to make. Fluix crystals, on the other hand, require redstone quartz and nether quartz. Do I even have enough nether quartz? Crap, I've only got 2 left. That's not a lot. This is a perfect excuse to go back into the nether and test out my suit and kill some piggies. Revenge of the Pravus. Any plan that allows me to exact wanton slaughter upon my enemies is good with me. Die! Well, that worked out pretty well, didn't it? Okay, so here's the nether quartz that I'm looking for. Let's mine some of this up, and then we'll be on our way back home. Oh no, they explode, I forgot! Well, that's a thing. Yeah, that hasn't changed. Oop, did it again, didn't it? Nether quartz ores still have a tendency to explode on you, which means you want to pick them up quick before it becomes a problem. Ah! Yeah, this is gonna be a chain reaction non-stop, isn't it? I think it might be. There you go, that should be enough to get me going. Okay, wow, I really should come back here sometime. It's like very easy to survive now, we're practically invincible. My mobility is practically unmatched at this point, and the piggies are of no threat, which means a whole new source of resources are available to me. And I'm a fool for not taking advantage of it sooner. Ow, gosh dang it, I keep running into walls. Hi! How'd you get in here? Die, die! Nope, 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 nope. There's a lot of them. Oh no, I'm on fire. I'm not sure how they were able to infiltrate my base like that, but, I mean, you know what? Good for them for being able to figure that out. Zombies, they're not exactly the smartest of folks. So anytime they actually accomplish something intelligent, I have to hand it to them. Okay, let's get some of those Fluix crystals, like so. And then, what do we need? I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, advanced processor, ME controller. Okay, good. Now we'll need an ME drive to actually store all those disks, and that requires 2 more basic processors, a chest, some glass, and some iron. Very easy. Perfect. 1 ME drive. Okay, what else do we need? There's so much in this mod. Well, we could stick with just a basic ME drive, or we could try actually creating a giant multi-block structure that will allow us to store an absolute ton of information. Do I want to worry about that right now, or should I work on a few other things? A crafting CPU would certainly be nice. No, let's go ahead and start with just this stuff. Oh, there's a 4K storage. I didn't even realize that. What do you know? Yeah, let's start with just this stuff, and we'll kind of add on to the system as we need to. Okay, you say, we have our ME controller, we have our drives, we have our disks. What does this do for me? Why is this useful? Allow me to show you. I'm going to use a quick demonstration. I cheated in an ME chest just to kind of make a point here. But what we're going to do is place down our ME chest right over here. Plus, we're going to place down our ME controller right next to it. Plus, we're going to place down some sort of a power source right over here, which does indeed turn this thing on. And I'm going to go grab a couple of random things out of the chest. Let's say a bit of cobble, some nether, some wood, some dirt. There we go. Okay. So what we got here is a powered ME controller. Now, this thing by default uses up 6 energy units per tick. But by attaching the ME chest directly to it, the two become linked and form a network, and now it costs 7 per tick, because this only costs 1. The ME chest works just like what you would expect for a chest. It has a lot of storage space. If we place an ME 1K storage disk in right here, you can see that stuff stopped graying out, and now we can start putting in items like before. For example, cobblestone. There's 64. There's 128. Not 2 stacks of 64? Yes, this does allow for some truly massive stackage. So we'll go ahead and place a whole bunch of items in right there. Pretty good, very useful in and of itself, just for the ability to stack things like that. Now, right here, you can see that we have used up 93 of the 1024 bytes. And by the way, I just realized I made a mistake. Not multiples of 12 when it comes to bytes. It's multiples of 64. 64! Anyway, 93 of 1024 bytes, but 4 out of 63 types. What that tells you is this combined, all of these individual blocks are taking up 93 bytes, but each of these count as a type because it's 4 different types of blocks. And each one of these storage units can only hold 63 different types of resources. But of those 63 types, you can have a pretty massive amount, up to 93 go up to 1024 bytes, and you can increase that storage range rather drastically. If I were to take out the storage device right here, boom, what happened to all my stuff? It's gone. I just digitized all of it and stuck it on a hard drive. And now if I place the hard drive back in here, there's the items. If I take it out again, you can see the numbers are still here. So it retains everything. They're just in a nice, convenient little hard drive. I don't even have to worry about it. It only takes up 1 inventory spot. Ba-boom. This is one way to play with applied energistics. It's not the most effective way because there's ways we can have several chests linked together, but in a pinch, this is a pretty easy thing to get started. It doesn't take a lot of resources, and it does give you a lot more storage space. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of this ME chest since I just cheated it in for demonstration purposes to show you roughly how the hard drive is going to work. One thing we want right now, in order to link a bunch of these things together, is going to be an access terminal. What we can do, well, it's better just to show you, honestly. The access terminal is not that hard to make. It requires ME cables, some iron, another one of those conversion matrices, and some glass. Again, conversion matrix, not too difficult to make. But what is ME cable? Very simple. You take the fluix dust I was talking about earlier, surround it with glass, and ba-boom! You have mass energy cables. They actually kind of look very similar to the glass fiber cables of the old Tekkit Classic era. Kind of fun. Let's go ahead and make up a bit of fluix dust. Now, if we didn't have any dusts, what we could, of course, do is take those fluix crystals using the fully formed Certus quartz and stick it into a macerator or a pulverizer. I think it still would work, and that would create the dust. Alternatively, the mod pack does add in a special tool called a grindstone, which if you create a handle, put on a grindstone, you can manually right-click repeatedly to start grinding the stuff down into a dust. And this is relatively easy to make, but I'm not going to bother. We're way beyond manual labor at this point. Okay, so there goes our access terminal. Now, how is this sucker going to work? I shouldn't have taken this all apart. I should leave it up as it is. All right, hang on. So let's get that energy cell placed down once again. Another one of those ME controllers. I'm then going to go ahead and stick the ME drive right here. And this thing just holds a whole bunch of hard drives. It's like a gigantic server. And if I want to go ahead and place in a storage unit like so, maybe a couple of them, you can even see that it fills in the blocks right here, which is a nice little aesthetic touch. I like that a lot. But then we're going to place the access terminal, because right now we don't have a way to access all the storage in our ME drive. It's not like a chest, but by attaching the ME access terminal, we do. And lo and behold, there's all of our items available in the ME terminal. There it is. That's the one we're looking for right there. and I should be able to just withdraw the items like so and deposit it. So what we've done by adding in the ME drive is just created that frickin' ton of storage with a nice little terminal that we can easily use to search for things like netherrack and so on. This is fantastic just by itself. It only consumes 11 energy units per tick, and we can stash so many different types of things in such amazingly huge stacks. Like, this is the way to store items. So right there, I'm happy. Like, I could just stop right here, and I think that we've upgraded our base a substantial margin. But, there's another huge aspect to applied energistics that we want to take advantage of, and that is automated crafting. Now, if we want to get started with crafting, we are going to need an ME crafting terminal, which makes a whole lot of sense. That requires another one of those access terminals, some glass, a crafting table, a storage cell, and some iron ingots. Again, storage cells you've already seen, nothing new there. And if we were to hook up our crafting terminal to this network somewhere, I'm going to place it right here, for example, we'll be able to craft items. Now, I didn't attach it to the network, and you can see here that it doesn't have any power. It's unable to communicate with the controller, the motherboard of sorts. All we have to do then is take our ME cable, attach it right here, and then boom. Now they are hooked up, and you can see, by the way, that we are indeed draining a little bit more power than before. This thing actually does tell you every single system you have hooked up to the network, which is very convenient. If you go to our ME crafting terminal, then we can just take out items and then craft them and then drop them back in. This is all it is. It's just a crafting bench that is hooked up to your giant storage network. Obviously, you can see why this would be very convenient. But that doesn't automate anything, you say. So it's nice and convenient if you're going to continue doing everything by hand like a scrub. But what about automation? I want automation. Well, there's a way to do that. Unfortunately, I think we are going to have to wait until the next video to work on our automated crafting system. In case you guys haven't noticed, some of the videos have been running a little bit long lately. I try to shoot for no more than 30 minutes, some of them have been going toward 40. And it's kind of killing me because I'm recording a good like 5 hours of footage and trying to cut things down to a reasonable time frame. I can't afford to work 8 hours on every episode. It's impossible to keep up. So, I'm going to cut things short down to a nice, tidy 20-25 minutes or so today. And in the next video, we will pick up our automated crafting system using applied energistics and the multi-block structures. I think it's going to be fantastic. Thank you guys for your patience and understanding. I hope you're looking forward to that video, and if so, you will consider hitting that like button. Leave a comment with your suggestions, subscribe, and hit that notify bell. And I, as always, will see you guys next time.